I don't know what happened there. I pressed a button and it just went no and kicked me out. So I hope you guys see that I'm live again. No idea what just happened. No idea. So strange. Lost my train of thought now. It's a shame that you can't just resume a live. The real shame. What was I going to say? Hi, Dawn. I was doing a different live and I pressed a button and it exited that live and now I've lost everyone. I'm meant to be tech savvy, but I didn't think the button that I pressed would kick me out like it did. But at least I've learnt something now. I don't have to. Yeah, it's just I'm gonna have to find a way to splice them together, I think. That's really irritating. But at least I know now not to press that button because it kicks you out of your live. How frustrating. I mean, I think I'd kind of I think the last point I had wanted to cover actually was poor customer service. So that was originally what I had led me to potentially do this video. You know, what would put you off buying a brand? And I'm not, you know, one incident of poor customer service is not going to put you off. So I had a pretty bad experience with Unearthly Cosmetics. It was the first purchase I'd made through Unearthly, and it was a pre-order of Just a Taste with Law, the Law palette. So they had a sale and I picked those up, and it was meant to be ready by I think initially the end of February, I want to say. And I was like, perfect, I'm going to order it to a friend. That friend is then going to, I don't know, I pressed a button and it kicked me out. I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. I hope people see it because that I've gone back on live again. But I pressed a button and I didn't realize it would end the live, and it did. But now I know not to press that button again. Yeah, see, this is the thing. So this is why for someone like Unearthly, it wouldn't put me off. I mean, I still need to try. I have now eventually got Just a Taste. It's a very, very, very long story, but I have eventually ended up with it. But the issue I had was it was supposed to be ready by the end of Feb. Then they extended it to the end of March. And when I realized that it wasn't going to be delivered to the friend who lives in the States who was coming over before that point, I tried to cancel the order. But they have some weird archaic system which meant that they couldn't cancel the order, um, which is bizarre to me, but okay. Um, so it ended up going to my friend. So the other part of this story is I have given an incomplete address. And do you know what it is? Okay, tracks. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I'm keep an eye out for that. Um, so one of the things that Unearthly says is when there's a pre-order, if you've got multiple items, we will ship everything together. And I'm thinking, great, because everything will ship together. And I think after they had clocked that it was going to be a while till Just a Taste was going to be ready, they shipped Law. Now, this is the thing that didn't sit right with me. If you've got a system that doesn't allow you to cancel an order when there's a part shipment, if one of your own rules states that you're not going to ship an order until you've got the full order to fulfill, why ship one item? Or ask the customer, say, look, this is the situation. There's been a further delay on one item. However, we can send you this item. Do you still want it? Just a Taste was the main ticket. That was the main thing I wanted. And if they had done that, if the customer service had, yeah, exactly. Like, which is fine. If you're eagerly anticipating stuff, then I guess it's kind of good that they send it, you know, in bits and pieces. But if you're waiting on something. Like, say it's a birthday present, for example. Like, say I had a friend whose birthday was going to be the 30th of March, so I've ordered Just to Taste for them, and I'm like, well, if I don't have it, like, what? I'm going to find them something else for their birthday. Cancel the order. But now I can't cancel it because you've got some weird archaic system that means that when a order has been partially shipped, it can't then be cancelled. That doesn't seem right to me. Um, but my fault as well. So part of it was shipped, but I forgot the apartment number for my friend. So I remember it was out for delivery, and I was like, yeah, great, okay, I'm at least going to get one of the products from this order. It's just a taste I really want, but at least I'll get something. And then it was like return to sender, and I was like, whoa, what the hell's happened here? It was like address not found, and I was like, what the hell? And then when I looked, I realized I had messed up and I forgot the apartment number. After some back and forth, and I mean a lot of back and forth, I did manage to enter the correct apartment number. So when Just a Taste was eventually ready, because I couldn't cancel my order, that got sent to my friend, who at that point had left the States and was visiting here. So that completely missed me. Eventually, because I was waiting, and then I had a family member who was also going to be visiting the States. So I said, you know what? Can you ship it to my family member's hotel, and then they can have it and bring it for me? And that's what I eventually did. So I think I placed that order beginning of January. I ended up getting Just a Taste in June. And if my relative hadn't gone to the States, I mean, I probably would have had to suck it up and just pay for shipping all the way to me, which defeated the purpose. Like, I placed the order knowing that I was going to have someone coming to me. I'm not going to say that that one experience is going to put me off unearthly. Like, especially if now that I have Just a Taste finally, I've not got around to using it. It's in my pile that I'm working through. If I like the formula, if I like the palette, I will buy from them again. But the Kaima Cosmetics type of customer service, where they body shame and are rude, no, I would not buy from them again. But I haven't experienced that with Unearthly. I would just say that the customer service was bad, but that was a one off. So let me see how I feel about Just a Taste, and then I will decide if Unearthly is a brand that I want to go back to. Right, let me see this question here, and let me not press that button again that I pressed before. I'm trying to... Okay, so do you think an indie brand should disclose that an influencer friend is handling their customer service? I won't say who, but I find it weird that the influencer and the brand owner are quiet about it. Do you think an indie brand should disclose that an influencer friend is handling their customer service? I guess that you could class that as like a bit of a conflict of interest, really, wouldn't you? I think if they're if they're an influencer who's a friend who gets their PR, it seems odd to me that they would also be part of your customer service team. And now my brain is whirring. I'm trying to think who it could be, because I know that, for example, Ali Dawson, I think, does customer service for a brand or brands. So now I'm wondering if it's Ali Dawson. Um, but yeah, I think you probably should. I don't know. I guess it's tricky, because if you're dealing with customer service and you're getting inundated with complaints and saying how terrible all these products are, but then you're sitting there being like, look at me, I'm an influencer and I've got this in PR and I think it's the best thing since sliced bread. That's a bit sus. That is a bit sus. So I could understand why you would potentially no longer trust their view when it comes to products from that brand. I wish I could pin comments. I want them to just stay on my screen, but it won't seem to let me. I don't know why. Now that I know, I can't trust whatever that influencer friend says about the brand. It's not personal, it's just the non-disclosure feels weird. Yeah, I can totally understand that. I can, definitely. Another channel had an issue with Just a Taste too. Then she got the wrong palette. When they finally got back to her, they said send the palette back instead of keeping it. Yeah, so I'll have to put this video up in 2 parts, Dawn. No, I don't think you're overthinking it. I don't think so. I think it is. I think it's if you know they're an influencer who gets that indie brand stuff in PR, I think there's like a conflict of it. Sorry, I've got something in my eye and it's driving me mad. I don't know if my contact lens has shifted or something in there. I don't know how that's supposed to help. But yeah, if it's a scenario where you know that influencer gets that stuff in PR and they also work in customer service, I do think that there's like a weird conflict of interest there, and I don't think that's right. You know, get someone who isn't on your PR list, or just don't use an influencer. Yeah, I don't know about, yeah, I don't know how I would feel about that either. I don't think that's right. Yeah, so I think I was, yeah, so part one, because this is now going to be Makeup Remorals part one and two at this rate. That's going to be, that's going to have everything about Kaima in there. That's kind of what kicked this all off, to be honest. Yeah, I think it almost depends on who the influencer is. Like, funnily enough, like someone like Ella Kinkley, for example, if she was doing your customer service, because it's part of her job, but I think she would somehow manage to remain impartial if, on the off chance, she was on someone's PR list and happened to be their on their customer service team. But I think it's an odd situation to be in to be both. I do. Is that the Keimer incidents that you're referring to there, Dawn? Yeah, it's yeah, it's yeah. Without covering old ground, yeah, I just that whole Keimer situation was something else. Something else. I almost think because if you were going to address it, you'd have addressed it by now, I think. So maybe it will be one of those things where she'll come back and just completely ignore it and hope no one, well, no, obviously you can't hope that no one's noticed. Everyone's noticed. I'm trying a pear Fanta. I saw it randomly on a shelf and I thought, I love that. I probably can't. Is that an endorsement? No, what's her face always used to drink Monster on camera, so I think I'm allowed to hold up a can of Fanta. Yeah. Hi guys, I'm back from my holiday. Look at this new palette we've got. Maybe, maybe. But yeah, I guess it just all got me thinking about, what could a brand do that was outright. So that was something that I wanted to, because a few people got back to me. I asked this on Instagram. What is a big no-no for you? I think the ice cream man's here. It's an unusual tone for the ice cream van. Right. What have we got? Okay, let's find. Okay, so someone said lack of shade differences or lack of shade difference awareness. So I think that would fall under maybe the ABH and Youthforia category. And then someone said sucks because I literally just bought the Huda powder, but it will be the only product from her. And that's regarding Huda's comments that she made, including that Israel started World War One and World War Two, which, considering Israel was established post that, yeah. Um, Ensley Rain. Gosh, I haven't even talked about Ensley Rain. Wow. But yeah, Ensley Rain, not paying creators for their commission code. The collabs. I think Ensley Rain also collabed or didn't pay someone for a collab, and then AI. So that AI is an interesting one. The more I read about AI and the more I understand it, the more I understand why people are against it. For I think like a year ago, maybe more than a year, if someone had asked me, "Oh, like, do you have an issue with someone using AI on their products?" I'd have been like, "No." But now I know more about it, and I've heard creators be vocal about why they find it an issue. I totally understand it, but I don't know. Speaking as someone who didn't know why AI was such an issue and only knows more about it now, and I'm finding out more about AI in general through other avenues, I don't think AI would be a deal breaker for a lot of people. That's what I would think. Yeah, so I will. Yeah, I almost think it depends how you're using AI. I think AI, there's a time and a place for it, but I think people use AI and rely on AI too much. And I think if it's getting to a point where something like artists, like, and there's something about AI art as well that doesn't look right. Like, you can always just tell AI art just looks a bit weird. And I'm not just talking about like weird AI. I think I saw on Glitter Raccoon Story, weird AI of a horse playing the guitar. Like, I don't mean that. Even when it's meant to be a real person, there's always something off with AI. And I do think it's relied on too much. Things that can be forgiven: mistakes due to a misunderstanding, lack of education with intent to learn from. Can't: bullying, childish, nasty behavior. And then following on from that, repeating the same mistakes after saying they will change and learn from the first. So this is, I guess, someone who keeps, oh gosh, yeah, Patrick Tarr, not paying for content. Can: genuine and heartfelt apologies with evidence of growth and true selfless remorse. See, this is where I don't think a brand like Kaima could come back, because I don't know if they would be able to demonstrate genuine and heartfelt remorse and show signs of growth. And the kicker with that is Gemma was bullied as a kid. There was a newspaper article, if you do a search, she was bullied in school herself, and she didn't leave with particularly good grades. Um, this is from the article. So it seems mad to me that someone who's experienced bullying and has been a victim of bullying in that way would then go on to bully someone else. Another can't: anyone who ignores or deletes or blocks people calling for accountability in education. Yeah, like, brands do that a lot, don't they? You know, if someone criticized, I got blocked. Just Pat McGrath blocked me for criticizing the Candy Crush Saga collab. I only said, a bit like what Ella did, I just was like, that's a bit off brand, just making an observation. That's a bit off brand for Pat McGrath, and they blocked me. So I don't buy from Pat McGrath anymore. even so, that's another thing. So Menagerie Cosmetics. I mean, I could be here all night talking about brands that are treading that line of doing things that are unforgivable. Yeah, I got blocked. I got blocked. And then a few people, because obviously that's like a really small box, a few people also sent me messages linked to that uh, that question that I posted. So let's have a look and see. Let's have a look. I remember that. I think I talked about that briefly, and it was weird. At the time, I was like, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's excitement. But this, coupled with like the bullying comments, I think is shining a bit of a light on the kind of character that Gemma is. And at first, I just thought, I can. Would I do it? No. But maybe that's born from excitement. And I think I saw her live, or there was something else where she was commenting like cha-ching, cha-ching, when like people were making a sale and she was being really. And I was just like, maybe she's just excited. And I was like, I'll let that slide. It's a bit odd. No, I remember that. I remember that. I mentioned it. I thought that that was odd, but I just thought I'll let it go. She might just be excited and getting a bit carried away. But now, yeah, I think it says a bit more about her character. So someone has said, a brand that I support now, but I didn't support before, is Adept. They made an ableist comment before in response to someone saying that they had difficulty navigating the website, and I think their comment was rude. They ultimately said, shop somewhere else if you can't use our site, but I personally don't think it was bullying. They apologized, but I wanted to wait it out. I started purchasing from them 2 or 3 years after that incident, and right now I feel comfortable about supporting them. I think bullying is the line for me. I think Kaima was intentionally malicious. I don't personally buy the apology, and I still won't ever be supporting them. Same reason I don't shop from Terra Moons and Ensley Rain. I think both brands promoted bullying those who disagreed or raised awareness of issues. And for Ensley Rain, clear hatred of trans people makes me not support them. I think racism, homophobia, trans hatred, body shaming, bullying are ones that I wouldn't support a brand for anymore. Maybe people can change, but there is no way I'm personally going to know a brand owner is genuine after that. So unfortunately, one situation, if bad enough, will mean I won't purchase forever. And I guess that was kind of my question really. What could a brand do that would make you never want to purchase from them again? And is there anything are there any transgressions that you think are forgivable? Okay. See, I think just from seeing Deandra's stories throughout the week, because she's been talking a lot with the owner of Menagerie, and I don't think that that has come from a place of maliciousness or ill intent. I think it was, I'm struggling financially. I need to find a way to do this. This is what I'm going to do. And then on finding out how offensive it is and how you can't just use fake skin to demonstrate your products, she's been listening. So that's very different, I think. So I wouldn't lump them in with brands like Ensley Rain either. Definitely not. I think they are taking steps. No, I'd agree, tracks. I do. I agree. Yeah, I think with Menagerie, they can come back. I think they. I mean, I saw some of the comments. I think they need to do a. But then I don't know. There's free speech. I guess there's a line. Um, should they be going through the comments and deleting all of the trolls? Maybe not. Let us see who the trolls are, so we can go through and take out the trash. You can't control what people who support your brand think. That's entirely different. I guess you would like to think that as a brand you would emit this kind of persona, this kind of image, and it would attract certain people, but at the end of the day you don't really have much control over who buys your stuff. So when it comes to the comment section, that's on the people leaving the comments. I don't necessarily think that that's up to the brand. Yeah, see, that's customer service, and I think that's why I kind of put this together in this video, because originally it was going to be a customer service focused video, but then I thought, you know what, repeated poor customer service, that's going to be something that's going to put you off a brand. And the thing is, a lot of the times you're only going to know what a brand's customer service is like when you have an issue. You could be buying and buying and never experience any problems. Yeah, see, I was talking about Unearthly because I had a poor experience with them, but I know that Amanda, I was going to call her Hayden. I was like, no, that's because it's Hayden Haunts. I know that she's been struggling with that, and I think she's trying to sort out her customer service, from what I understand. Um, the experience I had was that I would send a message and they'd only read part of the message and reply to that. Then I'd have to resend the message. And there was just a lot of unnecessary back and forth. I couldn't cancel my order when I wanted to cancel my order. And it was just a really poor experience. But that wouldn't put me off. Having said that, I'm that coupled with hearing other people's anecdotes and their own experience, like it's not a new thing. I know I'm not the only person who's experienced poor customer service from Unearthly, but I'll see. I will see. It's one of those, like, if I happen to place another order and I get issues, then it would probably be a no-go. Or I'd, I don't know if it's one of those things, if it would just be that I would never buy from them direct. Maybe I would get them from Monolith. Hi, Sadie. Yeah, I had. You'll notice I'm on a different link. I accidentally closed the first live. I pressed the wrong button, and I exited, so I had to create a new live. So I'm just gonna have part one and part two. Yeah, see, poor customer service is, well, I think anything is wholly avoidable. Just create a decent shade range. Don't be a piece of shit. Don't be racist, homophobic, sexist, transphobic, and don't repeatedly dole out poor customer service. One incident of poor customer service is not going to do it. It's not on the level as the rest of them. But repeated failings in customer service, when people are saying to you, you need to fix this, you need to fix it, and you're not doing it, you're not listening. I guess that's what it is. It's not listening to your customers. Eventually, not listening to your customers is going to make your customers stop buying from you. Whether that's sort out your customer service or do this, this, and this with your products. Oh no, that's okay, Sadie. I'm probably gonna finish off soon because part one and part two together is probably almost over an hour now. Oh, hang on. Okay, see, I've just read the second half of that, Jodie. I hadn't noticed that. I used to champion their brand, but I find that they don't promote or advertise POC creators other than swatches or product pics. I'm gonna have to look out for that. Interesting. I'm gonna be on the lookout for that. Because to be fair, if I think about the promotions and the activities I see for Unearthly, and I think people of colour, it's only Deandra. I don't know who else they work with or who they repost. Oh, I'm going to be looking out for that like a hawk now. Hmm. I straight up asked her about it, and her response was, well, we also have Hispanic. Interesting. Yeah. Is that PR for um Unearthly? Yeah, like does Jamie Trini get PR? And it's because she popped up. I know that Jamie Trini did a video of Just a Taste the other day, which I've deliberately not watched because I don't want it to be um because I know I'm about to film with Just a Taste myself. So I was like, don't watch a Just a Taste video before you film with it. And now I'm like, do I film with it? I'm still gonna film with it, but I'm gonna keep an eye on this situation because it's not something that I've noticed. But now that I sort of think back on it and I'm trying to picture people with deeper skin tones that I've seen using that palette. No, it's more like I mean I can watch it. I'm just being a bit silly. I think just when I'm about to film with something, and not that it's going to be like a proper review because it's old at this point. But if I know I'm about to film with a palette, I don't like to necessarily see someone else using that palette immediately before I do. It's like a weird thing. I don't know. Does it make sense? No, it doesn't, but that's just me. I'm weird like that sometimes. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep an eye out on that, I think. Yeah, and there I think therein lies the rub, isn't it? I think only big creators get PR from Unearthly. How many darker toned creators are big? Yeah, it is always the same people, really, isn't it? And I find sometimes I have to watch videos of people I don't necessarily follow just to be able to see a review of a palette I'm thinking of buying. Like I have to go out of my way to watch other reviews. Um, it's like I've got nothing, they're just not necessarily my style. Um, and obviously, the thing is though, obviously, if I'm from a consumer point of view, because I'm very much a consumer, I buy all my stuff. But if I'm buying for myself, like not for something because I want to film it or anything like that, but if I'm buying a palette, maybe I've been thinking about it for a while, it's a bit older, I want to see someone with a deeper skin tone demonstrating it because I'm going to have a better idea of what it's going to look like on my skin tone. And that's one of the reasons that I've started this channel. I'm tiny. I hope someone will stumble across it, my channel. You know, I'm going to have a Smolder video going up at some point. If someone hasn't bought Smolder yet because they're a deeper skin tone and they're waiting, I hope that my video can help them to do that. I think Cosmic, though, for example, is a brand that has shadows where across the board it does work on a deeper skin tone. Yeah, I think maybe Cameron Harris might because I think I've seen her do Unearthly launches before. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like that's it's always the same people. Yeah, those are the people who I see. And don't get me wrong, like I love Deandra and I love Newport. Newport especially, I found her more recently. Like Deandra, someone that I think because I created like a separate beauty Instagram so as not to irritate the hell out of people who aren't into makeup at all. So I separated it, and I found Deandra quite quickly. Um, And I love her stuff. She's like my reference, my go-to. If I'm showing swatches of stuff, I will include her swatches and stuff, especially if it's a product I don't have yet and I haven't photographed it on my own skin. I'll show Deandra. I love Newport's videos, and like she's just exploded. She only joined YouTube recently, but I think she's got 9K subscribers and going and growing. And yeah, it's to be fair, I don't know how often Glam Smitty posts on YouTube these days. No, not Glam Smitty. Hang on, she does post a lot. Hang. But then I guess it's the same with with other creators, like white creators, like Caucasian creators. It is always the same people. Um, and I guess it would be nice to, I don't know, it would be nice, I think, just to have a few more deeper creators getting involved and just to be able to see what it looks like on other people. Yeah, Nomad do I've noticed that Nomad seem to have a really, really diverse PR list. Like I see their posts and I see like their reposts and stuff. That is something I've noticed about Nomad. And it does make you wonder if Nomad can do it, then I don't it's a calculation, isn't it? It's isn't it? I think it's one of those, if you do it right, PR will give you the return. It will. Um, and I don't necessarily think brands do it right. Like there is, like it's really so. There's a creator that I used to follow who's not really active anymore. I'm not even going to give too many clues because I don't want people to clock who it is. But they're not active, but then they'll get sent something in PR and they'll be like, look what I got in PR, here's my code, and then they'll disappear. And part of me is, and maybe that's enough. Maybe for the brand who is sending them this stuff, the reason that they keep sending them this stuff is because their code is active and people are using that code. Maybe I'm not seeing something that they are. They must have reasoned that it's working out for them, that even this person who's not active anymore, who only comes up and is like, got this new palette, use my code, and then they disappear until the next one comes out. Yeah, I should really stop soon. I just keep, but this is a really interesting conversation. Yeah, I think a lot of people are really good for that actually. And that's one of the reasons, another reason why you would send PR. So you send PR to someone and they show your products. You know, they do a short, they do a reel, it's on TikTok, they put it on IG, they do a YouTube video, whatever it might be. And if they do a reel or a short, or they post to the grid, especially now they've got this reshare functionality, that's another way to get people seeing your product. You know, if someone's buying it and they're tagging you in it, we can reshare it. And if you're noticing a trend of people responding to certain posts that you're resharing, maybe you think to yourself, actually, whenever I reshare X person's post, that gets a lot of traction. And I noticed a little jump in sales for the palette they were wearing. Maybe it'd be worth sending them PR in the future. I don't know if anyone is that clever about it, but that's something that they could probably consider. Um, but yeah, I think it would be. I think people should rotate products. I think so that it's not always the same people. So one fun enough, we were talking about how diverse Nomad is. One thing that really gets me though about Nomad is when it comes up to a launch, how they do their guessing game, and obviously they reveal the palette at a certain point, and then there's this influx of all the people who have got the palette in PR posting at the same time on YouTube because they know when the reveal is going to be, and it's literally like 10 more, in fact, because they have so many creators. Some are huge and some are much smaller, but it's 20, 30, 40 people all uploading a video of a Nomad palette because of the fact that Nomad seems to have this massive PR list. So yeah, it's a really, I mean, but then I'd rather see that because I have watched, I found new people that way, because if I've wanted to buy a Nomad palette and I've gone on at that time, I scroll down. I like to see who the new people. Oh, you talking? Oh, yeah, I found new people from doing that, from just scrolling down to the bottom, because obviously the big names are at the top. It's always going to be Angeshka, and then I think it's Batty Bean, and then a few others, and then you keep scrolling down and you see some of the newer faces. But that always makes me laugh for when you log on to YouTube after a Nomad palette reveal. Um, that's insane. But I rate Nomad. That's one of the reasons I think why Nomad is a brand that I enjoy so much. And when I had an issue, like I had a mild panic, I think I bought Fuji Five Lakes and one of the shades arrived smashed. And I panicked and I was like, oh, it's smashed, it's smashed. What am I going to do? Um, and I put a picture. I wasn't even thinking, oh, like Nomad are going to see this, but I was kind of almost seeking advice when it smashed. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, on YouTube is just mad when Nomad reveals a palette. But yeah, I put a post up and I was like, I've bought this palette from Nomad. This shade is smashed. What do I do? And Nomad reached out and were like, "Oh, we're really sorry. If you can't fix it, we'll either send you a new one. Yeah, we'll send you a new one." And I was like, "No, panic over. I've managed to repress it and it's absolutely fine. You wouldn't even notice it was anything wrong. Like, I'm really sorry. Everything's good." And they were like, "Okay, cool. Well, here, have 30% off your next order." And I was like, "Okay, thanks." So, and then funnily enough, so I'm in the middle of filming like so I've got this beside me. I've just filmed with that. Guess who forgot to take a thumbnail for that? And I'm going to do, so this is one of the re-releases from the 10-year anniversary. So at some point, because I still have to film with the other two, I will have one video with all three of the 10-year anniversary palettes. I thought they're not new anymore. I don't even know how much longer they're necessarily going to be available for. So I thought when I eventually film with them, I'll just put all three of them in one video. And I have these right next to me because I think that these will pair well. So maybe these are two that I will combine at some point. Um, do you mean this behind me here? This is what is it? The Colours of Liverpool by Dorothy and Tate Liverpool. So it's kind of like a rainbow, um, and it's got all these different things. So there's a pink shade and it's called Strawberry Fields Forever, and that's a reference to the Beatles and a Beatles song. Um, and then there's Baltic Triangle. So it's just things that you'd associate with Liverpool, and they're each next to a colour. And I've got a food one downstairs as well. So that was gifted to me. And then I've got a similar one, but it's food related downstairs. So it's got things like Marmite and Heinz beans. But yeah. I should probably go now because I haven't even had my dinner. And when did I start? It's been almost an hour and a half now that I've been online. You must be sick of the sound of me at this point. But yeah, I just thought it was a really interesting topic to have a conversation about, and judging by some of the exchanges we have, I was not wrong. I was not wrong. Um, and I think there are some things that universally people find unacceptable and will not tolerate from a brand. And that does range from all the big things that you would assume, um, but right down to repeated poor customer service as well. So I do apologize that it's in two parts. The fat fingers here pressing the wrong button and making it exit. But both parts will be up, and I'll explain the situation. Yeah, and I won't do that again. That's annoying. Yeah, it's Pantone inspired, but not Pantone. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for rejoining if you were in part one and you've managed to track down part two and rejoin. So I really appreciate it. And I want to do more lives, like maybe every other week, at least once a month, at least once a month. I just have to think of interesting topics, I think. Um, Maybe drop a note when this is live and you can see it. Drop other things that you'd like us to have a talk about, because I'd love to hear what things you want to hear about when it comes to makeup, controversies, anything. Yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for that, for representation. Definitely, definitely. But yeah, as always, thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I also hope to see you again in a video in a not too distant future. Take care. Bye, everyone.